Yo. All right. I am today I want to talk about following great advice. And I followed someone's great advice years ago and found a lot of benefit. I mean, there was one there was one 4-minute conversation that I had with another developer at the time. This was at a Black Orlando Tech meetup. We had this meetup at this spot called Mathers, and I thought I knew everything, right? I thought I knew everything, but there was this one developer that I told him a problem I was facing, and he was like, "Why are you doing it like that? Why don't you do this?" And I listened to that advice, and it saved me. It saved me a lot of time, a lot of pain, and it dramatically helped the operations of my business. Most recently, one of my buddies that actually lives in the building, he had came down to the office area, and I had showed him this new microphone that I bought, and he was like, "Oh, I heard the DJI was better," and so I was like, "Really? Like, where'd you hear that? Rode is the best." And he recommended. He said, "Man, you might want to check out the DJI." And I can't tell you how much of a life save this is. Worth way more than the original purchase I made. I took that back. I got this one, and I haven't regretted it. But on this live, I don't want to just talk about like listening to people. I want to really dive into why I don't. And I don't want to say make confessions, but I'd like to speak about some reasons why people don't follow good advice. Because I think it's one of those things where you like, sometimes you wonder like, wow, like, well, if I know what to do, I was told what to do, I was given all the steps, why don't I just do? What is it that causes me not to listen to great advice? Like you hear people talk about, financial investments and stuff like that. Like, hey, you should do this. You should make sure you do this with your money. Purchase life insurance. Put money into these type of accounts. When you finance, do this, do that. And the majority of people still don't do it. Eat right. Make sure you're eating healthy. If you're having issues with your energy, like this may be the cause. Blah blah blah. Like all this stuff, and many people still don't do it. So I want to describe a couple reasons why I don't listen to great advice. And again, these are, I would say it's more so just self-reflection. I'm using this video as total self-reflection. All right. So one of the reasons why I don't listen to people is because of first big reason is ego. So sometimes I feel like I might put myself in a position where I'm trying to determine whether or not someone's worth listening to. And my gauge normally, and this is not a good gauge, right? But I heard years ago, you should only listen to people who you would change places with. Like, is this person in a position that I would say, hey, you know what? I would be willing to change places with you in that respect, right? So would you take financial advice from someone who is dead broke, right? Would you change places with them? If you had, let's say, money in multiple accounts, retirements, you had your portfolio, you had all this stuff, and someone who had nothing came to you and said, hey, you know what you should really do? You should do this. would you listen to them? The majority of the time, the answer would be no. But and sometimes your ego would say, well, I think I'm in a better position than them. But that's not always a great place to. It's not always a great place to use as a reference point for people, because a lot of that advice may be really good. Everyone has so many different experiences, and sometimes your ego can cloud your ability to receive, and actually put good advice into action. So that's one of the first reasons I don't take or listen to good advice. Second big reason is I may not be ready to take action on that advice. Like, I can't tell you how long people have been telling me, Mike, you need to hire people. Mike, you need to do this. Mike, you need to hire. You need to do this. You need to buy this, buy that. And I'm just like, man, I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for this. I'm not ready for that. I'm not ready for this. And I'll say I'm not ready for, no, I have said that I'm not ready for years. For years, I could just perpetually say that I am not ready. That's one reason, or another reason why I don't listen to great advice. I just don't feel like I'm ready. Even though I listen to the advice and I'm like, that makes total sense. And you know what's funny? You want to know from a self-reflection standpoint? When I look at myself and I say, man, why don't I take advice? Well, I take advice, I just don't use it, right? Why don't I use the advice that I get from certain people? I have to look at that and say, why don't other people take the advice that I give, right? So it's one of those things where when you self-reflect, it really makes you, it builds your ability to respond to the realness of things. There are plenty of people who I see they have poor sales tactics, poor skills in marketing and social and all this. And I'll be like, yo, you gotta do these 4 things, And they just won't do it. And I'm like, why don't they listen to me? And the reality is, I do the same thing. I do the same exact thing. There are plenty of times where I don't listen to people. So if I'm self-reflecting and I say, hey, you know what? Ego stops me from listening to people. Readiness stops me from listening to people. Clarity stops me from listening to people. Just overall, laziness stops me from listening to people. If I can say that about myself, then I need to realize that there are other people who are experiencing ego, readiness, laziness, procrastination, lack of clarity. There are plenty of people that are facing those same things as well. So if I want to impact, what do I need to do to get around that? Like, what do I need to do to say, hey, you know what? Like, I believe that they can really, they'll be in a much more favorable position if they just follow this advice. And you know what? I realized that there's a key word in that statement. The key word is follow. I think too many of us try to pull people. Like, we try to okay, you need to, like, we stop and we turn around and we try to pull people. And it doesn't work. It doesn't work very well. I've learned that firsthand. It does not work very well. People need to follow. Sometimes you need to just keep going in the direction that you believe is favorable for you, in a way that will enable people to follow. You need to just have, like, my son my son, he's playing this game called Roblox. He's playing this game called Roblox. And there was this Sonic board where like he would run really fast. He would run really fast. And since I wasn't playing the game a lot, I couldn't keep up with him. And at the same time, inside of the virtual world, oftentimes I couldn't find him. I couldn't find him because he was too fast. Like he would run to this corner of the map and he's just all over the place. I couldn't find him. It was only until he activated this thing called a trail. It was a trail, a smoke trail, where once he took off, but he left this smoke trail, and I was able to, even though I was slower than him, I was able to find him because he kept leaving a smoke trail. So I bring that up because if you're looking to coach and consult people and give advice, if you want people to follow you, you cannot be facing backwards. First big thing, right? Second big thing, you got to be aware of why people don't follow. With me, it's ego, it's clarity, lack of clarity. It is readiness, and of course, it's just overall procrastination and laziness, right? So you cannot be facing backwards to pull people in direction. You have to be self-aware of why people aren't listening to your advice, but you have to also have your smoke trail. And in the digital world, an example of a smoke trail can be a documented account of how you're achieving success, an ebook. It could be a set of videos. I like to express myself through video. So, I come on here. I have this software that I use. I like being on video. So I like recording myself, speak my mind, and this is how I pseudo journal, right? This is my version of expressing myself in a way so that I'm not trying to speak to people to pull them. No. I'm heading in my direction. If you want to spend the time to watch my videos, then that's you in the smoke. That's up to you to follow, right? If you find value in some of the content that I'm putting out there. But I need to do a better job. I need to do a better job at creating that favorable endpoint that people say, I want to get that thing. That's why there are so many influencers who, they're taking pictures in front of Lamborghinis and Ferraris and stuff, and they're in their, in their high rise where they're sitting there, they're sitting there, showcasing luxury and stuff like that, because those are endpoints that people favor. With me, I just give advice. I just give a lot of information and advice. I need to do a better job at that. And again, if you notice, if you've been watching some of my videos over the past couple months, over a year, I am far more self-aware than I used to be. Like I used to be very, I guess, is it naive? I don't know. I used to be very much like, well, I know this and you should know this, so listen to me. And, that doesn't work. And I realize that doesn't work because, I do my best to measure impact, and that shit doesn't work. So I'm becoming far more self-aware, and I'm realizing that I need to do a better job at creating my smoke trail, right? Like if you say, hey, you know what, I want to follow this person, like even on social media, so many people are getting on social media and saying, like my stuff, follow me. And it's like, what am I following? Why should I follow you? If I'm scrolling through social media, why on God's green and blue earth should I have your content consume my feed? No, I don't want to watch you doing a dance to the Lil Uzi Vert dance. I will block you. No, I don't want to follow you. I think that is stupid. I unfollow people every single week because I don't want to end up where they are. Like, that's not something I want to follow. So if you want to advise people, it is absolutely necessary for you to be able to create some endpoint and then create what I would consider to be your smoke trail. Again, for just as the reference to that whole smoke trail thing, because I'm going to record another video to kind of elaborate on it. But my son plays this game called Roblox, and there's this Sonic board, and every time we get into the Sonic board, he goes so fast that I can't find him. He like disappears. And it was only until he activated this thing called a smoke trail that I now, even though he's still faster than me, I'm able to follow him because I follow the smoke trail. So in the digital world, that is synonymous to blogging, publishing an ebook, publishing a course, webinars, advertising, marketing, community. I'm a huge community. Like, I like to build different communities of other people who share a certain interest. All of that really enables you to create something for people to follow. All right. I'm definitely going to record another video on that. But all right, you guys, I got to get back to work. You guys hit me up if you have any questions about any of this stuff. I doubt you would.